Hello.
Oh.
Hello, YouTubers.
It's another nice day.
It is another glorious day in the lives of Barefoot and Buddykins. But we have some bad news.
Yep. So I didn't get the job, which is quite surprising.
Hmm.
It is very surprising, actually, because I really thought it went very well. I can't even remember what she said in the email either. It said that I had. I'll just have a quick look.
Of course, we're disappointed, but we're not dwelling on the matter, don't get me wrong. We are surprised. But on the other hand, not surprised, and that's why we've done this video. All will become clear in a few moments, so go ahead.
So anyway, she just let me know. She regrets to inform me that they won't be pursuing the position. Said, though your qualifications are impressive, the selection process was highly competitive, and we've decided to move forward with a candidate whose qualifications better meet our needs at this time. With experience, then. So.
Which brings around our reason for this video, really, doesn't it?
Yeah. How does one get experience? Well, I have experience from
Well, we
places.
have a question that we'd like to put to people in general as well as these business, because Sarah has the qualifications to do that job, without a doubt. Does she have the experience? Now, if you're being 100% honest and truthful, she'd have to say no. She'd have to say no, because she's never worked in that business before.
Because everyone's business is different. They run it, even though it runs in the same kind of way, they've got different, they do things differently, like taking orders differently, like.
All right, can you use a
drinks.
point of sale? Yes.
Yeah, I have done.
Right. Can you use our point of sale? Well,
No.
because we've never bought. They don't take that into consideration. Have you ever used a point of sale? If your answer is yes, then that's a tick on their page, which in our mind is wrong. Because all point of sales are different. You have different menus, you have different categories and products. So, and this is,
currencies
it's not a
as
beef,
well.
it's not a gripe. Do you know what I mean? We're just trying to point out some obvious issues here that aren't fitting the criteria of what they're asking for, if you like.
Same with you as well, with yours. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I recently went for a job here, and the main issue was I was overqualified, but my issue is I really don't care whether I'm overqualified or not. If I wanted to sweep shit, if I was shovel shit, I don't care. If I'm willing to do that job, and I'm happy to do that job, and I've gone for the interview for that job, that means that I'm willing to do it.
Yeah.
That means that I'm willing to do it. Just a second, let me pause a minute. Oh no, you're okay. So I'm willing to do it. Okay. Now, if it then comes back to say that, well, you know, you're better than what we're offering, is that fair? Is that really fair? Because if a person such as myself or Sarah has gone out of our way to go and give it our best shot, is it fair? Is it fair? Does that mean, would you take that as we mean we want to do that job? We are willing to do that job. We are happy to do that job, otherwise we wouldn't have gone, surely. I certainly wouldn't go for an interview if I wasn't happy with what they were offering. So these are the things that we want to put to people and
there's
say...
There's always more, isn't there? There's always something else, another agenda, or...
The category, say for instance, bar work. Have you ever worked in a bar? Yes. Well, they'll tick the box to say you're the ideal candidate. When in actual fact, and this is another thing we've noticed, you need to have experience, but training will be given. Right, okay, so what sort of experience do you need? If training's given, what experience do you need? If you're willing to do the job, what experience do you really need? Turning up on time? We can do that.
Learning the job, we can do that too.
That's right. Now,
I know it just comes back to, I don't know whether it's with a few of them that I've been to while we've been out here and tried, and it seems that they want you to do everything if you've had that little bit of experience in there, but not willing to train you because they haven't got the time to train.
this is bad management, I think. In my opinion, this is bad management, because you think about this, yeah? If they're not willing to give you the full training, which they say they are, but they, in most cases they don't, yeah? You've experienced that, haven't you, yeah? If that's the case, is there any wonder there's a big turnover of employees and employees? Is there any wonder that the same bars are advertising virtually weekly for the same jobs? Now that
Really,
can't be
it seems
productive
like
for their business, surely.
they're not specifically putting people in certain areas, like if you like the
Well, there's no satisfaction there. There's no
No.
satisfaction. The employer is not going to be satisfied with an employee that doesn't know what they're doing. And the employee, quite rightly, won't be satisfied if they're not trained properly in that specific job.
like to use the equipment, like to use the till, like how to greet. I mean, we all know how to greet people, so that. But seeing it the way that they do it, if they want you to do it how they want, you need to do it how they want you to do it, which is fine. But they're not training.
Well,
They're not
another
doing
thing
no
is,
training.
have you ever worked in customer services? No. Well, that'll go on as a cross on your application. Why don't they say, are you a good people person? Why don't they say, are you willing to learn? Are you willing to talk with people and be open with them and discuss something? Do you know what I
That's
mean?
because they don't want the employees being able to speak out to the
Well, let's be
ones
fair.
up there.
Can anybody really say they've had no experience in customer services? People talking to people, you know?
Talk to them like you talk to your friends, don't you, really? Sort of.
There's a professional mannerism that you put across, maybe, but we can all do that. And at the bottom line, are you willing to learn? If we have a particular way of dealing with a new customer in our shop, are you willing to watch us? Yeah?
You see, even that, me personally, I learn better by watching rather than reading, rather than someone telling me here. I learn better when watching and learning
And doing.
and doing.
Hands on, yeah.
That's
While
the only way.
somebody's like got half an eye on you to make sure that you're doing okay.
Exactly, and if like
They're within arm's reach to
Yeah.
say, excuse
Well,
me,
if
have you
it-
got a minute?
if you
Yeah.
feel comfortable enough to be able to say, look, ask questions.
Do you know what's really surprised me? I thought this was a youth thing. I thought this was an issue that school leavers were having. You know, have you got experience? No, I've just left school. So they've got no experience, yeah? I honestly thought this was a youth thing, but it's not. It's not. This is an employment thing, you know, and I'd like to know why. I'd like to know why.
I kind of get the gist because of the first job that I went to, because he was quite like, he seemed nice, but he was always angry in his workplace. So
Well, he hasn't got
he
job
hasn't got the
satisfaction, has
patience.
he?
He hasn't got the patience. He was like, I'm sick of training. I'm sick of training people.
Right, that is a prime example of what we're saying, right? If you take on a new employee the last thing they want to be hearing is, I'm sick of training people up, I'm not training any more fucking people, and that is exactly the words he used, was
Yeah,
it not?
was, yeah. Yeah.
Now, what sort of work environment is that? Would you want to work for a boss that's ranting on about stuff like that? Brand new job, you've had catering experience, which you have, yeah,
Well, I have, but not using a meat cleaver.
but not in their restaurant. Now,
Yeah.
and then they wonder why they have a big turnover of staff. They can't keep booking staff. No, you won't be able to. You won't be able to.
If you don't respect your employees.
What is it?
and your-
What is wrong with it? Are they? Do you know what? I'll go as far as to say, are they really business people? If they can't see what's going on and they can't see the damage, which it is, it's damage, they've lost a good potential employee. Through what? Through not giving her the opportunity just because a tick box wasn't ticked, for instance.
For instance, are you willing to do full time?
Hmm.
I don't want to do full time. I only want like 24 hours a week.
In that respect, I can understand it. If they're
Yeah.
looking for a 40-hour position, I can understand that. But that is not the reason that you didn't get that job.
No.
Otherwise, I would have said in the email and not put what they put.
I have emailed her back
Hmm.
and obviously said that I'm pretty gutted because I also gave her a bit of feedback of the interview, which was really good. I thought that we got on well. And that if she would maybe consider, if when she wants to do any training, willing to do some training, and would she consider me? But I think
Yeah, but the
partly
funny-
it's out of her hands too.
Yeah, but the funny
So-
thing is, you can't tell me they've taken somebody on and not having to train them anything. It don't make sense. It's a brand new place, it's a brand new position, it's a brand new employment. Of course you've got to be trained, haven't you?
Do you know what it is? I reckon when you look at it, it was four or 5 weeks ago when I sent the application. Sent a CV. I didn't send an application because there wasn't any. So like I say, I went, didn't know what the job entailed. It seems to me like it's just take anyone. Just take anyone. Anyone that's willing to do it, we'll just take them.
Yeah.
That not willing to do it, that I've already done it before.
We
But
almost
confusing.
said as
It's
well,
not on it.
and we're starting to wonder this, whether they're just willing to take on the more vulnerable ones, the ones that are just...
won't open their mouth.
Well, it's not so much that, it's just those that you can click the finger and they will do whatever, sort of... If the job's 20 hours, and then they decide they want you for 30 hours, they'll take that person on. And it's like, well, hang on a minute, if the job's 20 hours, the job's 20 hours, I don't mind overtime, for instance, but what am I getting to? The vulnerable ones that will just, a yes man,
yes
for
man,
instance, yeah? Again, that's not job satisfaction in my mind.
No. Like in our last jobs in the UK, the what's the right word from your boss when you've got the communication,
Mutual respect.
yeah, mutual respect,
Yeah.
and that is the key. It is the key to running a successful business.
Yeah, that's what I was just coming to.
So-
When we had the computer shop, we employed one person, right? And we treated him exactly the way I treated Sarah, and Sarah treated him exactly the way she treats me. We was a group effort, simple as that. Now, we didn't expect him to come into that shop and us pass him a computer and say, fix that.
No.
We discussed something, which is training.
We take the time.
We take the time to discuss what his thoughts were, what our thoughts were, what we thought the problem was, and etc.
Answer his questions.
Right,
yeah.
so for instance, if it was a broken hard drive, right, was we to say, well, you said you've got experience, so just get the job done? No.
No, it's
No.
not the way.
We would make sure that lad knew what he was doing. We would make sure he knew which hard drive to take, where to get them from, such like, yeah? That's training.
Sometimes it makes us wonder whether we are a threat to to some positions.
Yes. Yes. It does make you wonder.
It does make you wonder that though.
Now, I don't know what to say. I really don't know what to say.
It's so frustrating.
At the bottom line, this comes back to the fact that how can they turn around and not offer somebody a position when they haven't got training? I'll tell you another example, yeah? A member of my family, our family, is a tanker driver, okay? He's been a tanker driver for some years now, and he's very unhappy doing that job now. He wasn't, but he is now. Now, you think about it. You probably know what I'm going to say. He's now working on containers. Now, the thing is, I don't know whether he's worked on containers or not before or not, but my point is, what's your job? Tanker driver, right? You're not having this job. What's the sense in that? He's unhappy. You're not going to get the best out of that person. I wouldn't employ him. I wouldn't employ him. My position would be, what have you done? Tanker driver. Right, why have you changed job? Because I'm unhappy in it. Right, okay, what sort of job are you looking for? Because we're offering container driving. Well, I wanted a new start. I wanted to turn my hand to something new, a new challenge, a new me, a new way of... What's wrong with that? I'd take him on. I'd take him on because the incentive to change indicates that they'll learn well. They're open-minded. Now, if you go into a job and say, I'm trained for this, I know what I'm doing, what sort of attitude are you going to get? You're then judged. You're then judged because then the employee will be turning around and say, I know my job and you're in the fucking wrong. You're not doing the job right. And it'll be like, hang on a minute, I'm the boss here. You know, can you see the problem?
Yeah.
We have a big problem with people that are employing other people due to the fact that they're not giving them the opportunity.
I think it's partly because of obviously it's about money, and they need to keep the business running. But
it doesn't make sense.
But
you look at the you look at the turnover of staff in these bars.
yeah,
That is not financial sense, I'll tell you now.
and it's not just bars. It's like we've seen it with quite a few businesses.
General business.
General
yeah.
businesses.
Yeah.
It does make you wonder why, apart from when you get into it, you actually do realise why people are leaving that particular job. Oh,
I'll tell you what another
you
problem
either
is.
expect far too much from you.
I'll tell you what another problem is. Bullshit descriptions. Bullshit CVs. Bullshit fucking ideas of what you can and can't do. Yeah? I've looked at some job applications, the description of the job, and I can see straight through them. Because if I took it at face value, at what I'm reading on that job application description, I wouldn't even attempt to go for the job. Because they use words and phrases that are up here. When in actual fact, when you went for the job, you'd be sweeping floors, wiping tables, cleaning tops, washing up. Cut the crap. Seriously.
Say what the bloody job is.
Cut the crap. Say what the job is. You're going to get your hands mucky. Are you willing to do that? There might be a couple of hours overtime if we're busy. Say so. Don't just say we want, what was it?
We want
Flexible work hours. Fuck off with your flexible work hours. What time do you start? What time do you finish? But add in the fact that there might be some... Flexible work hours does not mean anything, but I know why they're doing it. So they've got you by the bollocks. So that they can turn around and say, when you applied for the job, it said flexible hours. I want you in at 4 a.m. When the job's like 9 to 5, you'd be like, 4 a.m? I'm not doing that. Sacked. Because it was on your job description. That's the bullshit that I'm saying. Get rid of it. It's not needed. And all it does is confuse people and create this conflict.
You go for an interview like you did. You went for that interview for that job, and you knew the hours that you were supposed to be working
Thank you.
from
Yeah,
and to.
yeah.
But then when you were in there, they tried to encourage you to do nights.
It became very. I was very aware that the job that I went for, which was a twilight job, 3 till midnight, and the job actually said you have to be flexible working hours because, now get this was described properly, but there was still an issue. You have to be available between the hours of 3 p.m. and 12 p.m. I said I was willing to do that. But when I went for the job, when I actually went for the job, for the job interview, it was quite clear that they were looking for night staff. 12 o'clock midnight through till 7 a.m. 7 or 8 a.m. And I said, well, no, I'm not really interested in coming for that job, for them hours, because I've come for the twilight shift. That went against me. I'm fucking adamant. I'm adamant that went against me. Why? Because they said you've got to be flexible. Now, in the job description, it quite clearly said you have to be flexible between those hours, 3 and 12, and I agreed that I would be. Do you see what I mean?
I reckon this is the issue. The thing is, we will question something if it's not
They
right.
pushed and said, would you be willing to do a night shift? And I said, no, I'm going to be honest with you, no, because that's not the job I've come for. In fact, that job, the night shift job, wasn't even being advertised. No. And they admitted that they weren't advertising that job, but they were thinking of doing it in the future. So in my opinion, that's the job that they're trying to get people onto, but because people don't want to do nights, that's why they're advertising the better jobs, the twilight jobs.
And it's not even there.
Just to attract the people in. I don't believe it's there. I really don't.
Well,
you're not going to do any good, guys, if you're not going to be honest with yourselves when you're trying to employ people. It's as simple as that. You know.
And we had that.
We
had it great.
We're honest people. We're hard workers. And we're willing to learn. It really is as simple as that. I'm not trying to be bitchy, I'm not trying to be cocky, I'm just saying there is a major employment issue, not only here in Gibraltar or La Linea, but in the UK as well.
It's all about experience, but at the end of the day, a majority of them, you've got to go and get a qualification for this, and a qualification for that, and a qualification for that as well.
And
it's like...
means nothing.
No, it doesn't.
You get somebody coming in with all the paperwork under their collar who's had a bad night with their kids screaming. Are you going to get the best out of them? No. Oh, but they've got the qualification. Doesn't mean jack shit, does it? Are they willing to learn? No. You get a lot of people that have been to college and university with really bad fucking attitudes, yeah? Are they the type of people you want to employ in your business? It will come back on you. There's a lot of nonsense going on in employing people. That's the way I see it. Yeah.
Some of them are quite like a pyramid.
Why can't people be down to earth now? Why can't people be honest? Cut this bullshit and paperwork and bureaucracy and say, right, this is the job. Are you willing to do it? Right? Do you think you can turn your hand to this job? And if you're willing to do it, employ it. If you're not willing to do it, expect to get fired if you get the job. I would. If I said I'll give it a go and then didn't like the job, I would leave. I would give them the notice and I'd leave and say, look, you know, it's not what I thought it was, but I'd give it my best if I wanted to do that. But it's about honesty. That's the way I see it.
A part of me thinks that they've been messed around so much. I don't know. I don't know. In all fairness, they're running a business and they ask people to come in for interviews. Yeah, all right, so there's people out there that's somehow better than... They might be better in certain areas and not in the other. Do you know what I mean?
Well, in the UK, we know this happened. We don't know out here, but I dare say it might be the same, where the job centre sends you for a job that you don't want to do.
That's bully.
Is that really productive? I mean, it's a difficult one because you'll get them lazy slackers that, You know, it's like, oh, don't do that, don't do this, but I want my dole money at the end of the day. I do understand there is an issue there, but genuine people, yeah, that work better in certain areas, like you in, you know,
And
catering.
circumstances as well, because let's face it does come back to the employer
Yeah.
as well,
Mhm.
getting on with employees.
If somebody says their best hours is between dinner time and midnight, for instance, yeah, go for a job between dinner time and midnight. Don't force them to go in for a 4 a.m. start. What is the point in that?
I mean, a lot of them are not even saying the time's on nothing. They're not, and they're basically
Yeah.
getting you in for the interview and then telling you all on the day, and you're like, that's
16-hour
not really
shifts,
what I want, you know. And
12,
it's like,
14, 16-hour shifts, and it's like, whoa, that was a shock. I thought this was a part-time employment, you know. Also, another thing, you know, beware that people are not paying the minimum wage. You got screwed, didn't you?
I didn't know, but
Because
yeah.
we didn't know. The minimum wage out here is £7 an hour. Was it eight?
Went
was
up
it
in
over-
July, yeah.
In UK, it's 8.
8.21 or something like that.
Check it out anyway, guys, and make sure that you're getting paid for the work that you're doing. I mean, minimum wage. Most jobs are minimum wage now. I don't mind. I don't mind. At the end of the day, but don't rip us off. I mean,
Don't, you know.
well, you was on
don't-
50 pence an hour less than what you was legally entitled to, wasn't you?
Yeah, I didn't know.
And this was a proper business, and
Well,
they get away with it, don't they?
it's crazy.
We're not
So-
ranting, we're just stating facts. We're stating
Yeah.
that we've identified an issue, we've identified a problem. You know, it's not that we don't want to work for other people. I'd love to work for somebody given the right job. I'm still waiting to hear about my application at the health club. If I don't hear out by tonight, because it's his first day back from his holiday, so I'm not going to push. But if I don't hear anything by tomorrow, I'll be emailing just to make sure that he's got all, you know, my details and that.
Well, like I say, I reckon quite a lot of these businesses are run by people that sit in an office somewhere in other part of town.
Who don't know what's happening on the shop floor, so to speak.
And that's why a manager that gives you interviews and things like that, I've got someone else to.
It certainly seems to be a bit of a cutthroat industry. Because it also makes me wonder. I mean, we've had quite a bit of feedback of being, you know, very well qualified for the job. Was that a disadvantage, maybe?
I'm not lying.
Are they looking
though,
after
I ain't
their
gonna
own
lie.
interests? I don't know. I'm just saying it could be. You know, is it such a cutthroat world out there that they don't want any form of what they perceive to be a threat to their own job? I don't know. But at the
you-
end
if
of
you
the
don't
day,
come
is
in,
there,
if
is there
you-
any wonder there's a problem with taking people on? Go on, if you don't come in.
I was trying to think about what it was that I was going to say, but if like you don't come in with, I mean, you go to an interview and you're giving it all you've got, or what you feel that you're giving is you, but it's not, because the majority of people are lying their way in.
Look at-
and then when
come
they
on,
get in,
look at
they're not-
CVs
they're
now.
They're not what they say they are.
Look at CVs now. Look how you was trained to fill in CV in. What's all that about? What do you need training for? What are your qualifications? Put them on a piece of paper and hand it in. You don't need training to do that, but they'll tell you to put all this.
Yeah, I have skills in teamwork.
I consider
and-
myself to be bloody black. You don't need all that.
It's all.
protocol.
It's all come. You've.
And then
you
they
need to
turn
be
around with the
better than
statistics.
you
Then,
really
then
are.
they turn around with the statistics and say a potential employer will only read the first 3 lines of your CV. Well, that was a fucking waste of time then,
Well,
wasn't it?
that's not actually quite right, because I know that on my CV is right at the bottom. It actually is the last thing that says that I was self-employed, and that was the first thing she said to me. I see that you've been self-employed previously, and I'm like,
It's
funny
maybe
that,
one
'cause
in
it
a
was
million
right
that
at the bottom.
reads the whole CV then.
Yeah.
Because like I say, we do know that these big companies, look at McDonald's, for instance, yeah, they must get thousands of application forms, yeah. You can't tell me they read them all. And yet those kids, those youths and adults, I guess, are taught to do their CVs properly.
Yeah.
I
You
don't
don't
get it.
need it, to be fair. You can just write it how you feel. Express yourself how you feel, not how the government want you to write your own CV. How you did in your last
I
employment.
can understand, in a way, I can understand why a CV exists,
Yeah.
but it's just a general form of piece of paper to give them an idea before they meet you. That's the way I would see it. But they've turned it into a gold dust piece of paper that has to basically sell yourself. What's that about?
Yeah, I have noticed.
Why should a piece of paper sell yourself? Why can't you do it with your own mouth, with your own body language, with your own persona,
And
with your own
Yeah.
integrity, with your own friendliness and respect for the other person? You can't do that on a bit of paper. You can't do that through an email. And yet everything's supposed to be done by paper and email now.
Email.
There's no wonder there's a problem.
yeah,
We fight on, don't get me wrong, we're still going to continue, but these are the things that you identify in your journey when you're looking for employment. Well, there's another thing, yeah? Like I've said, I've already sort of briefly come across it, but what happened to your choice of work? You're into catering and fish and chip shop. You're working in a fish and chip shop. What if, for instance, you chose to change direction in your career and there was an advert for an admin assistant? Now, an admin assistant surely assists somebody of higher degree in the office, so they will require training, correct? Right, why don't you fit the bill then? Genuine
because
question.
you need qualifications.
At the end of the
You need
day,
a qualification to sit in an office.
wow.
It seems like it. I mean, everything you do, everything you want to do, everything you want to try, it's got to have a qualification. Why can't people just take you for face value?
Something very wrong. There's something very wrong. If you've got the right attitude and the right persona to come across and say, right, I'm willing to give it my all to do this job, and you've got the incentive to even work things out for yourself, but ask, see if it's the right way. Seriously, I think that's a far better way of taking people on. You'll get people, excuse me, you'll get people with all the qualifications, a folder full of bloody CVs and certificates and such like. Does that mean they have to be trapped in that career for the rest of their lives? Tell me that. Because the way things are at the moment, and it's getting worse, we've seen it get worse over the last 5 or 6 years, where it's like, no experience, no sorry, gone. They're not willing to entertain you even. So that's today's topic.
Yeah.
Today's rant, if you like. It's not a rant, it's just an observation which, we
Which
feel
is
is something
frustrating.
that can be worked on. You want to run a genuine business, or if you want to apply for a genuine job, I think this applies, don't you?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it definitely does. But, I mean,
Leave your comments in the box below, and don't forget they are reviewed before they're posted. So don't worry if it doesn't show up straight away. We do moderate them, yeah. But leave your comments in the box because we want to know what other people's sort of perspective is as well. There's obviously things that we're not looking at, maybe. But in general, I think we've got a valid point. If somebody is really genuinely, ready to take on a new challenge and such like, why can't you give them the chance? Why should it be they should know your job inside out? That's impossible. I don't know anybody that could turn around and say, oh yeah, I can get a total stranger with the qualifications that knows how to do this job without any training whatsoever. I don't think that exists. not one bit, unless you're working for the same company and you've just been transferred to another business, another location, which isn't the case. That's not what we're
No.
talking about, you know.
Every business runs differently. They do things differently. So
Well,
the training is needed.
in all fairness, I've noticed that different depots are run differently as well with these multinational bloody companies. Argos, for instance, yes, they have their own policies, but you go to another depot and it could be totally different. It could be a different way of working.
Because that's again, it comes in again. You've got to learn it the way that
So where's
they
your
want you
experience?
to do it.
So where's your experience go then? If you've been experienced in Nuneaton and they send you to Manchester, but they work in a different way, you're not going to be any good to that depot there, are you?
That's right.
Something to contemplate, guys.
Yeah.
So, we got anything else to say today? What are we on? Just over
Well,
half an hour?
As I said to you, I've got to remember it. Their loss, someone else's gain.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Don't get us wrong. We're not bitching and pissed
No,
off with
no.
with what's happened. Slightly disappointed because you do give it your all, but we are great believers in it wasn't meant to be. It is difficult even for us. It wasn't meant to be. A lot of people would be like furious, but we're not. We're not. It wasn't meant to be. It might come around later on in life, we don't know. Or is it just the universe saying it's not the right time for you to go into that job because you'll find something better? We don't know. But we have faith. I think that's what it comes down to. We have faith in ourselves. We have faith in ourselves that we're not going to give up and just keep plodding on until something does come up that suits us. I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
I'm happy with that. It's not like anybody else is suffering because of it. It's only us two that have got to look after ourselves and, support each other, not just physically but mentally as well, to be fair.
Because it is disheartening.
Yeah.
It can be disheartening. Well, it is. It
Yeah,
definitely is.
so a
For me,
little-
anyway.
A little hug and cuddle goes well, doesn't it? Yeah.
Always make me feel better.
I'd make you a cup of Kenko Green, but I'll...
Oh no, you've upset me now. I need coffee.
We were looking on Amazon last night. Kenko Decaf, which is the green jazz, really hard to get hold of, yeah. And Amazon are selling it for...
It's 500 gram jar. But you get two. Okay. Oh dear, 85 quid. Wow.
£85. No, that ain't happening.
I
is
did
it?
find it a bit cheaper somewhere else. I think it actually was on Amazon, but it was on another. somewhere
Was
on
it
Amazon.
15 quid, but
Yeah, but it was like 10 quid delivery as well. It's like, I'm not paying
20
25 quid for a
25 to
200
30
gram
quid
jar.
jar of coffee?
God,
No.
you're lucky if I pay 6 quid. Now I gotta buy it all, so I have to go without.
What are you going to do?
Well, not a lot. I'll drink more.
We ought to set up our own Kenko Decaf importing
No,
business.
that's not, because we'll end up with a house. We could build a house with them or something.
I wonder whether they'd be called for it.
Well, I should maybe write to Kenko and see if they want me to open a shop. I'll start selling their stuff.
Well, it does make
So
you
I get
wonder
some coffee.
why. It does make you wonder why. There must be called for it. But whatever.
Well, it's like they only have a very minimal stock of decaf Kenko. Well, anywhere, to be fair, even when we was in the UK, it was very limited where you could get it from, and there was only so
And it was
much
about
of it.
£8
it always
a
sold
jar,
out.
but then again they used to sell it on offer at Morrison's for £4.
£4, yeah,
Someone's making a lot of money out of that somewhere, aren't they?
yeah. And then here it's like £8,
Which
but now
brings-
they've
Which
stopped
brings
selling
back the
it.
question: if they can make that sort of money, why have they stopped selling it?
Yeah, because it sells out
It
very
sells out.
quickly.
So there is call for it. Again, is it bad management?
Well,
There's
putting
something
the money,
not
they're
right.
putting
is
the
there?
money in the crisps. They're putting the money in the crisps aisle. Someone-
That is. Do you know what? That is something I noticed the other day when I went
Crisps
into
and
Morrison's
sweets.
over here. The tea and coffee doesn't even fill one side of the aisle. Okay. Crisps,
Pop.
sweets, and fizzy pop. Aisle after aisle after aisle.
Mm.
Correct.
Yeah. And water. And
That is
Yeah.
that. Wow.
don't know where to.
That's not good. That's not good, is it? But anyway,
Yeah.
we're not dragging it on. We've done a 40-minute video. Hope you've enjoyed
I
it.
don't know.
And please do give us your comments on this because,
Yeah.
you know, I don't think we're far off the score. There is a big problem with business and how they employ people and how they give people the opportunities. This is one of the reasons why there's such, you know, masses of unemployment in the UK. Comments in the box below.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, subscribe, you know the score, share the video if you think it's, you know, worthwhile to some of your friends and whatever. And like we always say, if you want us to chat about anything, if you want to know anything about Gibraltar, give us a shout, put it in the comments box, message us, inbox us, whatever. We'll see what we can do. Laters, taters.
See you later.
Love you all. Bye bye.